Hey, how's it going, guys? It is Foxydude here. Welcome back to a brand new video for you guys today here on the channel. Today, we're going to be ranking the F1 2023 liveries, which every single person that makes F1 content has already done now, apart from myself. But today, I wanted to give my personal opinions on this, and hopefully, moving forwards, do a lot more F1 videos, but to do with actual real-life F1 and not the game, because I don't like the game anymore. So, if you're never joined the video, though, drop a like, subscribe if you're new around here as well, and let's get straight into it. Now, the trend has been set for 2023. Save weight. How do I do that? Kick some of the paint off and give me some black carbon fiber. I'm personally one of those where it doesn't bother me unless they get the livery right. Unless they work the livery well, then I'm okay with it. Because for me, in terms of whenever I've done modding on F1, I absolutely love black cars for Formula 1. I don't know what it is. It just look mean. They just look sexy. I just like the black on cars. It just makes it look more aggressive. So, it's not the end of the world. For me, a lot of people just like colour, and have different colour palettes. The black colour palette on a racing car just looks more mean and aggressive to me. But anyway, let's get straight into it. First things first, we've got Haas, who launched their car first. And overall, the livery is very basic, very bland, but it's clean. And that's probably the crucial thing here, is that it's quite, like I said, it's got nice colour palettes. I like the black on the car. It's definitely an improvement. Probably one of their best liveries they've actually come out with, Haas. I like the black on the car. I think it works nice. I like the white that's also on the car. From the side profile, it's heavily black. From the front profile, it's heavily white. I just think there's a couple of little changes that need to go on in here. I think the Haas on the side pods need to probably change so that they're red, so that they just bleed out a bit more. And the MoneyGram logo on the engine cover just looks off. There's nothing wrong with the livery, but there's nothing that wows me about the livery. So, for Haas, it's a B tier on my personal list. And that's pretty much where I'm going to leave that one. Next is a case of, have you seen the F1 2022 Red Bull? Yeah, because it's the same thing all over again. It is the Red Bull RB19, and again, it's one of those cases where if it's not broken, don't fix it. I don't not like the livery. I think the problem I've got is, what everyone's got, is that they're bored of the same Red Bull livery, but we need to remember that all the way back in the day, we were looking at, for example, like McLaren with their Marlboro livery. They had that for probably nearly a decade. I think they had that for, they had that for ages. The Vodafone McLaren livery, that was 07, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So that's 7 years in a row of the Vodafone livery. The things are there because they are meant to look iconic in the grand scheme of things. So I think nowadays, though, a lot of us just get bored and just want a bit of a refresh with the liveries, which is absolutely fair enough. For me, the Red Bull is a B tier. And the reason it's a B+, so it's going to go in front of the Haas. Now, there's nothing about the livery that gives me that wow factor. Now, what I mean that is the Red Bull livery from old, like the 2013 Red Bull, was probably one of my favourite Red Bull liveries. That purple was just beautiful. Now they've obviously gone to the matte colour scheme. Granted, it's obviously, a lighter form of paint, so why wouldn't you? But there's nothing bad about the livery. Like the Oracle on the side pods is nice. The Bybit on the rear wing is nice. The Red Bull, all the decals are just nicely placed. It just doesn't wow me, and that's fair enough. It just doesn't. So, yeah, Red Bull is going to be a B tier on my list. Next, we're going to go with the Alfa Romeo Steak Formula 1 team. I'm calling it a steak. I'm not calling it however they want to pronounce it. Maybe even it is steak. I don't know, but it is a steak. And I'll tell you what, this steak is well done. No pun intended there. It's bloody sexy. As soon as that Alfa Romeo livery came out, I was just like, oi, you know what I'm saying? It's an A tier on my list. It's beautiful. I like the red. I love the black integrated into the livery instead. The wheel covers are also really, really nice. The problem that I've got is I just don't like the way that the black and the red combine. I just feel like they could have just done some little tweak to the design, whether that was putting a white outline in there, maybe putting some gradient flow in there, maybe doing what Alpine have done in the past and having a couple of little decals that all stick together. Like, instead, it's the Alpine logo, but it's formed in a way that creates a gradient, but it's a shape variant. Something like that, because it's a bit off. Or maybe even changing how that gradient comes into play because it's just literally just straight cut like a knife, and it's a bit annoying, but overall I like the car, so it's an A on my tier list. Right, now Williams hasn't actually changed. In fact, they've pretty much stayed the same, apart from there's a little bit more lighter blue, and again, it's a weird one, Williams, because I like it. I do, but I don't know whether it's good enough to be an A grade or a B grade. And do you know what I'm going to do? It's going in the B tier. And the reason it's going in B tier is because, in fact, no, I can't. I got to put it in C. It's frustrating, right? I'm just going to get straight to the chase here. The color scheme is nice. I love blue. Blue's my favorite color. So obviously I'd want to put it higher up on the list. But it's very similar to last year. I just feel like they could have done a bit more with the shapes. The blue stripe that sort of flicks up from the rear of the engine cover and goes into the midpoint of the side pod is just an irrelevant feature that doesn't need to be there. It's almost like someone just accidentally let their child just flick a bit of paint over there, and it doesn't really work for me. So I don't really like that. I know they've got a Duracell sponsor, so by all means, you know, there's going to be a bit of bronze in there, but it just looks naff on the air blocks. I know it's a nice place to put it because it's got the shape of a battery, calm, but it just doesn't work. And the main thing, it's plain as hell. There's no sponsors on this car. They need a title sponsor, and it needs to be slap bang covering that side pod and giving some more to it. It's just super plain. The color scheme, beautiful. The sponsorship side of things and just those tweaks and changes, I can't put it in a B tier. I just can't. It lacks too much. I'll tell you what I can do though. I can put AlphaTauri in the D tier. By far one of the ugliest liveries I've seen. I can't vibe with it. I genuinely can't. I like that they've got. I know why they've gone with red because of the Orleans sponsor, which they've taken from Alfa Romeo. Fine, and it gives me the vibe from when they had a bit of red on their Toro Rosso livery. But that's because the color scheme worked. This doesn't work. There's too much colour going on here that just doesn't make sense. You've got the flex box on the front wing end plate, which is orange, or bits of orange on there. They've got the disgusting navy blue. I don't like the AlphaTauri livery anyway. I'm probably mentioning that right now. I don't like the AlphaTauri navy blue. I think that the AlphaTauri logo that's on the engine cover doesn't work for me at all. It's too big, too messy. And the plonks of red just don't work. I don't like where the red has been placed, especially, you know, where the Venturi tunnel starts on the bottom, red on the halo, a bit of red on the rear wing. I guess the red on the rear wing would be okay if they put the red in the other areas of the car, which actually worked. I think for me, the best AlphaTauri livery was last year's AlphaTauri livery, and this one doesn't work for me. It's just, I can't vibe with it. It's not very nice. Sorry. Yeah, not for me. Okay, we go to McLaren next. Now, McLaren is a difficult one for me to judge because when I saw the livery, I wasn't liking it. I really wasn't. But I feel like it's because of the rear wing itself. And I think because the rear wing has got like, I think it's OTX on the end of it, because obviously they use different sponsors per race weekends. Either it's Velo or OTR or OTX, you know, whatever it is. The fact that they had, I think it was OTX on the rear wing, it just didn't work for me. It really didn't. I like the papaya. I do like the blue. That's in there. I like that the rear wing has now been fully coloured in papaya. However, I don't know. There's just something which doesn't work. And I think, genuinely, what makes it does not work is that they've included all of the types of sponsors that they could have for a weekend. Like Velo is not going to be every single sponsor for the race weekends, you know, whereas OTR, one of them I just remember from last year, is not going to be the sponsor for every single race weekend, you know. So I think that's probably what did it wrong for me. It's going to go in a C tier. It's not my favourite from the set of liveries that McLaren have produced in this era of papaya. Definitely 2020 or even 21 were, for me personally, much nicer than this McLaren. In fact, it is better though than the Williams, so it can go in a high C tier on this one. Next, we've got the Ferrari. You can slap yourself straight into an A tier. It is so close to an S tier, but there are some problems with it. So what makes this Ferrari, first of all, extremely sexy? Well, last year's Ferrari was extremely sexy anyway. Like, there was nothing wrong with last year's Ferrari. It was banging. What I didn't like about last year's Ferrari was the shade of red and the lack of decal on the rear wing. Well, guess what? They fixed exactly what was wrong with it last year. They've given it a lighter shade of red, which looks absolutely beautiful, by the way. They've put the Ferrari logo on the rear wing, so surely I should be giving it a chef's kiss. No, because the way that they've decided to put the black on the car for carbon weight-saving purposes, this is what I come back to. If you're going to make your car black, or you're going to add black onto your car, putting that into a pure carbon fiber to save weight, do so, but make the color scheme work. Why doesn't this work? Well, the engine cover and the fin, again, a little bit of black on there. That's okay if it just went on a clean downwards trend, but it sort of just boxes out because of the number, whereas they could have done an ebb and a flow to allow that in there, and they probably could have fitted a bit more carbon on there, to be honest. The way that I can see from the side of the front nose, how it just sort of goes black and then comes up and then stops by the Ferrari badge on the side, that's really messy. It just sort of stops and then sort of diagonal slides in, and it's just a bit silly. I feel like realistically, if you want, make that entire side of the nose, all the way up to the side pod entries, make the whole thing black with carbon fiber. Because funnily enough, they've painted the rear wing end plates and they've painted the front wing end plates. Why? I don't know why. For me, those two elements, just get the paint gone, take it off and put those as black and put your carbon fiber on. That bit of paint then, where the sponsor is on the side pod, I can't remember what it's called, it's like Serve or something like that. Paint that in red. I don't know, that little piece that's been boxed out, that one sponsor on the side pod boxed out, genuinely grinds my gears. Like, it's just so annoying. Take the paint off the rear wing end plates, take it off the front wing end plates, make the whole side of the front nose in black, and then use the red, cover up the engine fin, make that fully red, cover up that sponsor, make that red, and you've given me a chef's kiss, one of the best Ferrari liveries I've ever seen. Unfortunately, it's been let down. You know, with Aston Martin, they went down the route of if it isn't broke, don't fix it. Good, because it's banging. I like it. It's the same thing, but it's sexy. And I feel like they've changed the shade of green, the dark green. It feels a bit more brighter and a bit more prowess. I like that they've blacked out the front and the rear wings. That's fine by me. And just overall, it's just a nice clean livery. There's nothing wrong with it. Don't break what isn't, don't change what isn't broken, or whatever the terminology is. I can't say it because I'm retarded, but you know, it's nice. There's everything great about it. The only real problem that I've got with the livery itself, I just wanted a bit more yellow. I want a bit more of that yellow that's there. Maybe elements on the front wing end plates, maybe something on the rear wing, just something, like anything just to make it a bit more yellow and a bit more color orientated. Apart from that though, yeah, I ain't got a problem with it. I'll tell you what I haven't got a problem with though, is Mercedes. Genuinely, it's sexy as fuck. It's so sexy. This black arrows is beautiful, and I love that they've gone back to their roots of why they've gone to black. Obviously, we know that Mercedes used to be white. They had a problem with weight saving, so they cut off all of the paint to give it the silver aluminium, and that was the birth of the silver arrows. This time around, they've got a major weight problem. They've stripped back all the silver paint, and it's come with black carbon fiber, the black arrow. And of course, we've already seen the black arrow in 2020 and 2021. Of course, that was for a different reason. That was more for sending a message. That was obviously for sending a message for no to racism and for diversity. And yeah, I love the livery. The only thing on this Mercedes livery that I would genuinely change a little bit is the main Petronas logo. I just wish it was closer to the side pod where it normally is. I guess it's a bit of a faff because the way that Mercedes' zero pod feature works and how the outwash comes in from the zero pod, how it may have worked. It may have actually looked even uglier. But apart from that, genuinely, it is faultless. It's absolutely faultless. Like the Petronas blue across the side of the car, the silver that goes in above it, just like we saw in 21, I think it was. Or maybe not, can't remember. The way that the blue, again, the stripes on the front and rear wing look beautiful. They've left the red on the rear wing with the Ineos, and they took the red off the airbox for the Ineos, which is just beautiful, because I wasn't a fan of the red Ineos on the airbox, I'll be honest. But for me, this is maybe a bit controversial, but it's my favorite black Mercedes. That's probably controversial, but it is my favorite one. I absolutely love it. S tier, best livery. And then we've got Alpine coming up next. And I'm going to try and rank this in a proper order here, because Alpine is genuinely my second favorite livery. And this is funny because a lot of people backlash the Alpine. I don't backlash the Alpine. I'll put it in a better order here. Alfa Romeo is probably sexier than the Aston. No, solid. We'll leave it as it is. Yeah, a lot of people backlash the Alpine. Now, have they stripped back more colour for their carbon look? Of course they have. But they've actually done it in a clever and smart way. The way that they've done it, it's actually very, very smooth. And in terms of the colours, none of the colour is lost within where the carbon it is currently. And it just looks nice. I mean, the pink is obviously there for the BWC. The blue, though, is just a beautiful blue. And I love, again, this is what Alpine do, is that they have a specific letter or just a specific shape or anything like that. They do a shape form gradient, and it just gradients again on the pink on the bottom of the sidepod and the blue bit at the top of the sidepod. So all in all, it just makes it look nice, and overall it's a beautiful livery, and I love it in blue. I know a lot of people are constantly been begging for the Alpine to go into full pink. Don't. Just don't. Alpine is blue, and it should stay that way. But it's beautiful. But overall, I think I've pretty much ranked this, apart from maybe, I'd leave it like that actually, genuinely, from 1 to 10, that's probably my overall ranking. Mercedes, Alpine, Ferrari, Aston, Alfa, Red Bull, Haas, McLaren, Williams, AlphaTauri. That's my livery list. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video though. Drop a like if you have. Subscribe if you're new around through as well. Obviously, your rankings are going to be completely different to my rankings. So let me know what you love. Let me know what you hate. And if you agree or disagree with my opinion. But until then, I will see you guys for some more real life Formula 1 content focused videos coming in the near future. Take care all. Peace.